Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and welcome to Nerd Tube. And it's time to talk about Gareth Southgate and what's next for England as he has resigned as manager of the England national team. This is a big deal because, like Arsene Wenger, I never thought this day would arrive. Considering he got to the finals of the Euros this particular time, I thought that earned him a pass for next year's World Cup, so the World Cup in 2 years. But no, he has decided to leave this particular position, and so long, Mr. Southgate, and good luck in your future endeavors. I'm here with Ginger Greek and Gaz. First of all, Ginger Greek, have you found this news? How did you feel about it? And anything else you want to add?
I'm not surprised. Firstly, I want to say, as frustrating as Southgate was in parts, I still love the dude. I think he did a fantastic job. He actually brought discipline to the England side, something that we've been lacking forever. Because you always see two of the most ill-disciplined sides in Europe are England and the Netherlands. France, for all their troubles, they still have a well-oiled machine. But Southgate came in, he got the team playing really well. He just kind of became a little bit too stagnant this time around. Because if you look at the Euros 2020, he blew us all away. We were phenomenal. Like we got to that final as well, and just this time round, it wasn't as fluid. It was very frustrating, and it was the quality of the players. They had the magic to get us through with your Bellinghams, your Saka, your Cole Palmers, all this kind of stuff. They had that extra bit of quality to salvage us every single time. But despite people's mutterings and our frustrations, Gareth Southgate can walk with his head held up high. He's done amazing. I don't know if he'll do as well at club level because it's just a different ball game altogether, pun intended. But that being said, I'll move it on to Gaz before we move on to the next chapter of what's next.
I think I agree to those who said what Peter said. I mean, you got to remember the atmosphere Gareth Southgate came into, because I think it wasn't that long after we got shoved out of the Euros the year 2 years before by Iceland. I think he was either the last 16 or the quarterfinals. So whoever it was, he was a bloody shit.
Yeah, Hodgson was the manager. Then Allardyce came in. Then Allardyce got sacked, and then we ended up with Sam.
Yeah. I was going to talk about that. Like Sam Allardyce was literally manager for something like 2 weeks before he got flaming
undefeated. He finished his tenure undefeated, even though it was 5 minutes.
So he had one match, and then he got stung by the bloody sun, I think it was. The only time I say thank you to Son. He basically got himself fired. And then Gareth Southgate came in, and the things he did were great. Like he got rid of all the cliques that were in the bloody England team, because the golden generation and the stuff like that would talk about the fact that the club teammates would always sit together, and there was no unity when they were getting to England. It's and you know what? And that's the first time I've seen an England team play like an actual team. And I know that he gets a lot of slack, a lot of from the media and whoever. It's like the guy got us to a World Cup semi-final, got us to 2 Euro finals, and got us into the quarterfinal where we're beaten by France, who were awesome.
Who won the bloody tournament?
I mean, the thing is that apart from Self Ramsey and maybe Wilbomb, you're going to be hard pressed to find an England manager who had that level of success. I mean, that is it's unparalleled. I mean, you could argue maybe he had the players for it, but you have to be able to galvanize those players to play like a team, and they played like a team. I just think in the end, what did him in is the fact that he was too defensive minded, and again, maybe we'll get into this a bit later. Every single time we seem to go 1-up or whatever, it seems to we just sit back and let the other team just forward over. It's go for the juggler, because there's times where you had the other team on the ropes, and then we just let them back into the game. We did it against Croatia in the World Cup semi-final. We did it against Spain in this final. We did it against Italy in the previous final. It's every time we get a lead or would equalise, it's there'd be no impetus, but then all of a sudden we'd give it away again. It's either that's been coached, that's probably been coached into teams.
That's been coached. To sit back like that, that's been coached, and that's bad coaching. In the modern game, you can't do that.
Yeah,
He's a defensive player, so what do you expect
Yeah.
from?
yeah, but I think this is the difference. He's teaching the players not to lose and not to, but instead of winning. See, I don't mind if they lose, but they play their ass off and it just doesn't go in for him. Sometimes that happens in games, but when you sit back and you literally let teams play around you, that's asking for trouble, and it happened again and again and again. And I don't blame him. I just blame it's just his mentality he came into the team with. But saying that though, he should be proud because, hey, he's the most successful modern England manager, and it ain't even close.
Yeah.
I'm very I'm a bit, yeah, for me it's a bit bittersweet because if anybody needed the redemption from what they had as a player into management, it should have been Southgate. He had several bites of the cherry, and he almost got that brass ring, and he never achieved it. And I feel so sorry for him. That it should have been that Hollywood movie moment, but it never materialized. And I do hope he has a successful career after England. I can't see him going into club management. I do think he'll remain as an international manager.
Yeah.
But who he manages next, maybe America. I can see that happening. That'll be a good fit for him.
I don't know about
Yeah.
America because they seem like there's like one family that has like a fucking monopoly over there over the national team. There's like a whole corruption thing going on there. But yeah, it could be. I mean, it could be Belgium, could be Portugal, could be anything. Like you never know. It's
I see him maybe outside the. I don't know why. I mean, it shouldn't really matter, but I can see him managing outside of Europe for some bizarre reason. A team that really could do with a manager of his caliber, but I just don't think a lot of other countries would want to take him on. I just don't think he would be good enough for a lot of the big nations out there, including Belgium. I don't think. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, they've had people like Martinez, which I've always thought was a joke of a manager. The fact that he managed Belgium and Portugal is bizarre to me. But yeah, there you go. I don't think they'll repeat that mistake, which is why I can't see them managing Southgate managing them.
Yeah. But for England, I mean, my favorite would be Graham Potter to take over. I would say Graham Potter. I think you can't blame him for what happened at Chelsea. That place was just, it's a complete shit show there, and the fact that it just shows how good Pochettino is, that he managed to scrape them into fifth or sixth by the end of the season, like despite everything, and they still sacked him, which was a big mistake. But Graham Potter, he just inherited a mess. It was a lot of players that he didn't want that were coming in, and it was just like he was more of a coach than a manager. And so I feel that he can easily redeem himself by becoming the next England manager. I don't want to see Newcastle's manager because that's a waste of his talents going into international manager. It was Eddie, what's his name? And I do not want to see fucking Steven Gerrard as a manager. Like, absolutely not.
Well, the talks of not only Gerrard, possibly Frank Lampard.
No, absolutely not. None of them. They have poor player management skills, and they'll just take us right back to that undisciplined, shitty football that we used to play in the 2000s. No, thank you.
Gerrard absolutely flopped as manager in Saudi Arabia, I believe.
Massive. It was a huge flop. He only had success in, he had the magic in Rangers, and that whatever worked for him there, but it didn't work for him in England, and it didn't work for him in Saudi Arabia either. He's done. I mean, that's it. It's very hard to kind of come back from that. Gaz,
I would either have Jurgen Klopp or I'd have Potter. I'd want a attacking-minded manager who knows about the defensive side of the ball, but could unlock, because he needs to be a very strong man manager, because we're now getting a lot of, I hate to use this word, egos in that squad. Look at Jude Bellingham. I mean, that guy has a massive ego, and everything in that what happened in that final tells me that he's going to be a problem down the road. Like his ego.
I don't think so. I think like he's not like a Jadon Sancho because Bellingham, he has an attitude, but it's in the right place. It's like Ronaldo. He's got that attitude, but it's all about the team, and it's all about he's got a fantastic like attitude in training. He's got a great like he's like Ronaldo basically. He's like our version of Ronaldo in just that, you know, constantly like just not satisfied, wants more.
He's
and all of that.
he's a winner.
That. He's a winner. You need that.
He's
The
a
guy's,
winner.
how old is he? 20, 21?
20 years old.
He's 20 years old. Real Madrid cost 100 and something million. You don't get there by being a fucking like, you know, a pussy.
He's an intelligent kid as well. He'd learned the language very quickly, and I think he can speak German as well. Well, you know, like
and also we need a manager who isn't scared to make the big decisions. Like
that's why I say, yeah, I mean Klopp for sure. Like I'll take Klopp in a heartbeat, whether he wants to come or not. But Graham Potter took Brighton from the Championship and turned them into a top side team, like top 8 team, not fucking survival team, not any of that. Top 8. He did wonders, and he had great players. Didn't have an expensive squad, but with England and with the freedom to kind of do his thing rather than say like Chelsea's Todd Bowley, who doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. I'm hoping, I might be wrong. He might be a complete flop if he gets the job, but you know, he's not assigned to any club. He's got a perfect mentality to get the best out. I mean, Brighton created players. He bought players for peanuts, and they sold them on for like millions. Like made a ridiculous return on investment on the players. That's Graham Potter. He brings out the best out of mediocre players or mid players.
I think it's got something to do with the setup within Brighton, because I know Graham Potter was involved in some of that, but they're still doing it, Brighton. You know, even post Potter.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that's because of the thing Paddy was saying. Like he's implemented a squad and a culture in there that the other manager has not come in and fucked about with. He's gone, like, this culture works. How do I work in that to produce the best out of these players? The manager who's taken over is smart enough to do that, because a lot of managers
mean, it's him and obviously the club owners and all that. They've kind of kept that mentality of saying, okay, this is how things work. This is the structure. This is what we're going to do. And it works great. But, you know, Potter has that ability to hopefully get the better. It might be wrong, might be a complete shit show. And Brighton was such a well-oiled machine that they made him look good. You know, you never know. But
well, I mean, seriously, I think he did a pretty decent job at Chelsea. I mean, considering, as you were saying before, the shit show.
Considering everything, yeah.
Like he seemed to get them into a reasonable place. It's just that the people who worked there were like, no, let's get rid of this guy. It's like, all right, fair enough. I mean, but we do need somebody who's going to make brave decisions. Like, for example, this entire tournament, and I hate to say this because he's the joint top scorer, but Harry Kane was a boat anchor on this team for a lot of stuff. Like he, for whatever reason, he wasn't doing what he usually does, which is run into the box and get under the team. Like there was like 4 or 5 times that Saka beat his man and pulled the ball in to 0.
Nobody.
To the defender.
Yep. Every fucking time. Every time. It was so frustrating. And it is on Harry Kane. Like, you know, and this we're coming from, like, we love the dude. I think he's one of the greatest England players. Mm-hmm. And he just did a show up for this tournament. Yeah, he's the greatest goal scorer. But he did show
for me, the moment Harry Kane goes in deep, people like Foden and Bellingham need to advance. You know, when they see a certain situation, as well. You know, like a player takes it one player's position, another player then takes their position. You saw that after when John Stones did that gallivanting forward moment he had against Spain. Immediately, Declan Rice filled in for him. You know, so there wasn't a hole in the pitch. Unlike obviously fucking what's his face, Kyle Walker, who forgot he was a centre back against Spain and kept fucking letting Nico Williams come in on the left on both goals, by the way.
On both goals, I mean? Yeah, you're right.
And that really pissed me. But I want to talk about that a bit later. Because for me, that's a big issue with Kyle Walker. But Kane, what annoys me about Southgate is that if you know certain players are not playing well, you got the squad, use them. Don't keep giving these guys chances. Foden, for as good as he was against Netherlands for one half, he was terrible throughout the entire tournament. This was an opportunity at some point. Palmer deserved to start ahead of him.
Great.
You know what I mean? And he didn't.
Every time. Sorry.
And regarding Kane, if you want that type of striker, you got Ivan Toney, for fuck's sake. Put him on instead of Kane and see what you get out of Ivan Toney. If you want that lanky, tall, almost target man like striker, you got it into him. Because honestly, Kane's movement between the lines was a joke. And I felt sorry for certain players. What's his name for the Manchester United kid? Mainu. On a couple of occasions, he had the ball and he was looking to thread someone in. And there's Kane, static as fuck. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, like, oh god.
And Kobe would have to like beat 3 players and try and worm his way in to try and get a shot.
Yeah,
because there was he's not Superman.
That was the other issue as well. A lot of the times, the England players were kind of isolated. There weren't anyone near them to kind of tiki-taka around and move and pass and move and all of that. It was very isolated, and it's just like, what are you doing? This, like, you watch like Arsenal and Man City and how they play. They get in tight when their movements and they get into spaces. Here they were just like stagnant, and a lot of the time it fell on Kane, and after time it did fall on Rice as well. The Rice at Arsenal would get into those positions, but it wasn't doing it at England. But mostly Kane. Like, how many times Saka throw the ball in? How many memes were made on the fact that there was nobody in the box? You know, it was just ridiculous. It's like there's one meme of like Kane. It's like, Saka's running in down the wing. He's going to cross it in. I better move back up towards the goalkeeper in my own half. Kind of stupid shit like that. Or like, I better move back into defense. It's just like, if you're making a meme about it, then you know you're doing something wrong.
But consistently, this is a problem England have had with every manager, is that they want to put our best players all in the same 11, even if they can't fit them in the right spots. You know, like Bellingham and Foden are not left-sided players.
Yeah,
and unfortunately, you don't get the best out of one of them two if you put them in the wrong position. When Foden was 10, he was great. When Bellingham was 10, he was okay. But then again, if your supporting player isn't playing so well, you might not necessarily play so well yourself. And if he's not good on in the position that he's in, and obviously we had people like Trippier at left back who did all right. I'll be honest with you, not as bad as it was, but it never gave us the width that we truly needed.
As soon as Luke Shaw came on, it was a massive difference.
Yeah,
Luke Shaw always plays well for England. Always.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, I thought your mic had gone there, Zan. You're right. I can hear you.
He likes flying on my but yeah, look, it's funny. But I actually thought Luke Shaw looked a bit off the pace, but he just somehow always managed to get that leg in. You know?
No, he did well against Spain. No, I'll give him props.
No, he did. No, he did. For a guy who looked like he was unfit, I was surprised how well he played against Spain. The Teddy Dream. Our defense.
Yeah, he kept that wonder kid flavoured in his back pocket.
Yeah.
But,
he should have. But that being said, I don't know what the fuck. Like, Southgate had to stick up his ass with Ben White, and he wouldn't play him. And Ben White was like, you know what? While you're the manager, I'm not going to fucking play for you. Like,
what do you think it was?
I don't know. Because Ben White is very disciplined, but he kept picking like
Arsenal right back.
Yeah, Arsenal right back, best right back in the country by a mile, or at least like best English right back. And Southgate wouldn't pick him. So, and then there was the whole thing like he was too injured to play for England, but he played for Arsenal like a week later. So there's all that kind of stuff.
He got sent back. He got sent back from training. I think we played a game abroad, and he got sent back, and it was never really known what truly happened. I think some things are kept in house.
Yeah,
obviously he's had a falling out with the manager.
I think he just had a falling out with Southgate. I think maybe if I was to speculate, it's because like Ben White kind of understood that Southgate's style of management or of play just didn't suit Ben White.
Not just that, but he's probably like fifth choice. If you've got Walker and you've got what's his name from Chelsea, and then you've got Trent and you've got Trippier as well, and then Ben White, like fuck me, you got an abundance of right backs, more right backs in an England team should have.
Well,
But
I'm dropping
so
Trent. Yeah, Trent is shit. I'm sorry. Might have a good season for Liverpool here and there, but yeah,
I don't think
back.
I don't know. I personally, I don't know. Like, I want to jump onto Carl Walker now because he cost his discipline in that final cost us those goals. How the fuck can you forget you're a professional footballer, mate? I know. Look, I'm not saying he can't play centre half. The point is that he was supposed to play centre half, and
he just kept disappearing.
He kept bombing forward all the fucking time. I know you got good pace, mate, but if you keep bombing forward, no matter how good your fucking pace is, the opposition have also got good pace on their wings. They're going to take advantage of that, and they did because so many times, that left side was open. That goal they scored against us to win the match, he was nowhere to be seen.
Yeah,
if he was in his position, he could have taken care of Nico Williams. But no, he was nowhere there. And then Stones and Gaya had to cut across. Absolutely infuriating. So as much as people have a go at people like Harry Kane for not scoring the goals, we've got to look at some of the other elder statesmen in the England team and think to ourselves, maybe their time has passed.
Yeah, Walker's done now. He's definitely done.
Yeah, and also like things you said about Cole Palmer, he should have started. Like, it was like every time he came on the pitch, it's like the intensity and the speed in the England team went off about 10 miles an hour. It was literally like he was a breath of fresh air. It's like, why is this guy not starting? And also you've got Anthony Gordon, who plays on the left wing for Newcastle. He could have well done what Foden done. And he's actually played in where he likes to play, which is on the left side.
Yeah.
And
the thing is as well, like Tony is a versatile player as well, because he can play up front and in midfield. Okay, and so he could have like dropped back if needed, but because if you'd have had like Watkins and Tony up there, fucking hell, that would have been I know they don't usually play with two strikers, but that's how with Tony he can kind of drop back. Like he's a workhorse, he don't mind like getting tucked in.
Yeah, and as I said, Declan Rice got a little bit of stick from certain players, but I thought he did all right for what he's asked to do.
He did great in the final, but he wasn't great for the tournament. No. And some of the passes he was doing were just diabolical.
Well, look, but I think
go on, Sam.
So, no. Anything more to say?
No. Pretty much that's everything.
Then,
if you want to move on.
No, it's not, because it's time for
Sam's TikTok treasures.
This is the football edition of Zam's TikTok treasures. And first of all, I've got to start off with England legend and Liverpool legend, John Barnes, who, in my opinion, absolutely hit the nail on the head regarding this England team. Let's check it out.
You go through that Spanish team. Carvajal is a good defender. That's what he is. Mm-hmm. He doesn't come forward. He's a good defender. Laporte plays in Saudi Arabia. Lenormand plays for Real Sociedad. Cucurella, they say, had a nightmare at Chelsea. Rodri is the playmaker at Manchester City, but he's not a match winner. He will dictate the play, and he's got good balance. Fabian Ruiz playing alongside him is a good player. Those two are very important. Nico Williams plays at Atletico Bilbao, so he's not in one of the top 5 or 6 teams. You got a 17-year-old kid, and you got Morata, who's been on loan at Juventus, Atletico Madrid. So individually, are we saying they're great players? No, but they have a style and a system that suits them. Now you go through our players. Individually, they're great, but we don't have a style or a system. We rely on individuals to rescue the game or to win us the game. We don't play well as a team. And until you get an identity of the way you want to play, It's not about the individuals coming in, because our solution to any problem is bring Palmer on. We should have taken Grealish. Rashford should be there rather than the way we play. I'm listening to the commentators when John Stones got the ball once and he dribbled out, beat about 5 players and said, that's what we need. We need more of that. That's not what we need. We need a pattern of play that regardless of the individuals, whoever comes in, we're going to play the same way. Well, when you say put the blame on the manager, he's got to 2 finals and a semi-final. The fact that we haven't won doesn't mean you're a failure. It's as if saying, if you finish second to Man City when Liverpool did on 100 points, that it's failure. It's not failure. It's not failure.
It's not success, though, is it?
It's not success. But, I mean, the fact that, okay, we've won it in 66, but that's got nothing to do with this team that we have won it in 66. And this team has maximized their potential to get to a final. And so Gareth has done as well as can be expected. Should we be beating these teams? I don't think we should necessarily. I don't think that we're better than everybody else in the world.
When you say like you played for England, if
the same way, in the same way.
So isn't it the manager's job to get the best out of every player and make them, or try and get them to play like they are at club level?
I think the problem that we have in England is that managers in England are under pressure to pick the best players. I mentioned the players who hadn't gone, and we said that's the solution. So we're under pressure to pick the best players. I mentioned those players there who play for Spain. They all don't come from Barcelona and Real Madrid. The club who had more players in the squad than anyone is Real Sociedad, who finished 7th. They had more players than Barcelona and Real Madrid, because the Spanish manager then says, the way I want to play, these players are going to suit that. Now imagine a manager coming for England and then saying, right, we're not going to be picking these players, superstar players who play for their clubs and they're winning the Champions League, because the way I play, I need players from different clubs. Imagine what the press will say then in terms of not picking the best players. And that's what we do. We pick the best players and put them together and expect them to perform.
I totally agree.
You go through that.
Spot on.
Now, I agree with him majority of the time. Saying that Rodri's not a match winner, I totally disagree with that. But I get what he's trying to say. Like, it's not all about Rodri in that team. But you saw that Spain team. They weren't individuals put together to make a team. They were the right pieces for the team in order for them to play like a fluid 11, like a club side.
Yeah, I mean, you could draw a great comparison to Greece. Greece won this fucking thing 20 years ago, okay? In 2004, they won the Euros. Did they win because they were individually phenomenal players? They had some good players on the squad, but none of them went off and became like world class. But the Otto Rehagel had them playing as a well-disciplined, well-oiled machine. Same as Germany in 2014. When they won the World Cup, they were well-disciplined. Yes, they had that quality, but what they had first and foremost was the discipline to play as a team and have their certain style of football. John Barnes is absolutely spot on. We were relying on the players. I said it earlier, beginning of the stream. I said we had the quality in the players to get us out of the jam, but we didn't play like a team. Too many times there was gaps and not enough people, blah, blah. I'm not repeating myself.
It's not just that, but once again, if you try to shoehorn our best players, because you look like for like, nearly every player on our England team is better than what they have. Even players like Yamal, who just burst on the scene, he's still not he's far from having to prove himself. There's a lot of players who burst on the scene and dwindle away. He has to play for a good 5-6 years before he can really establish himself as a top tier player. And people like Saka better than him. Kane Kane's better than Morata. Foden or Bellingham, whoever's on the left is better than Nico Williams, and whoever's in the middle is better than Olmo. I'm only probably in our midfield will we say that Ruiz and Rodri are better than Declan Rice and Maino. But other than that, I think our defenders, maybe I would say Carvajal is better than what's his face, than Kyle Walker. But I think everywhere else we're pretty much. And what's his name? Cucurella. I used to think that guy was a joke. He was excellent in this Euros. Absolutely superb. Didn't put a foot wrong, in my opinion. The guy, this wasn't the same player at Chelsea. I couldn't believe it how bloody good he was. Yeah. But
it goes to show you. The thing that I loved about Spain, and I loved watching Spain play, and then as you're watching it, you're just like, hang on a second, none of these. Who the fuck plays for Real Madrid or Barcelona in this team? It's like one player. Like the rest were from all over the place. And I was just like, that's the kind of mentality you need to say, you know what? I'm going to pick the players that I want. Some of the players at Real Madrid, obviously, and Barcelona are a bit old as well. So you don't really want to rely on the old guard, especially given how poor they've performed since winning the Euros in, was it 2008? I think they won it.
They won in 12. I think they won twice. They won the
Twice,
Euros, then the World Cup, then the Euros again.
That was it. Yeah. But kind of, so that kind of, you can't have those players still kind of banging around or whatever. So yeah, he did a great gamble, and he did. He took the ones from the lower teams that are going to play well, going to listen to his style of football, be able to be molded. And you look at that squad, and you're just like, bloody hell, they can go on and win the World Cup. You know, it was spectacular.
But I do think that, like, you look at, like, for example, Kobe Mainoo, he's going to be better than he was this season, this championship, just because he's going to get the experience and he's going to get the legs and he's going to get better than he was. I mean, the thing is that he's still quite relatively young. You've got to remember that the other guy's only like 19, but we're still like busting his gut. I mean, the guy busted his gut to like play his ass off, and then Saka.
The one thing I'll say about Southgate is that he had the balls to pick the kids. He did.
He does unearth players.
Yeah, he knew he picked kids. Yeah, and
Gayer as well. Like, who the fuck was he until he played for England? I had no idea.
No, neither did I.
Excellent this season.
Yeah,
he was excellent this tournament.
Yeah, but
he was excellent for England, but I had no idea he even existed. And
I'll be very surprised that if a big club doesn't go in for him. Look, what tournament he had.
Southgate did take a couple of gambles. There's a couple of players that, in my opinion, were constantly shoe-ins, but they never played for England in this tournament, and that's Rashford and Grealish. I think Grealish might have been injured, which is why he didn't play, but that could have been a blessing in disguise, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, Rashford, I'm glad he didn't pick Rashford. Though probably could have used him more than Kane, but Rashford just hasn't had a good season.
No.
Yeah.
Sometimes Rashford's very up and down. Sometimes you have a great season and then you'll have not a great season.
But there are players who have shit seasons and they still get picked, like Harry fucking Maguire. Obviously he didn't get picked this time around because he was injured. But the point is that if he wasn't injured, Marcus Gayer would never fucking worn the England shirt, and Conter as well. Like, who the hell was he? Fantastic. And Ollie Watkins, that goal he scored, I never knew he could do stuff like that.
Watkins, no, I've been following all season. Because I want him at Arsenal. He is phenomenal. Absolute world class.
Do you know who he reminds me of? He reminds me a lot of Ian Wright, and I'm not just saying that because just the answer. But just the ability that Ian Wright had to get goals from weird angles. He just has that kind of ability.
Yeah, he reminds me a bit of him and a bit of Wayne Rooney as well. Just that magic fucking touch. But yeah, he's great. Ollie Watkins, he's worth a fucking fortune already, and he didn't even have to play for England to get to that because he's done bank for Aston Villa. So yeah, just a great squad of players, and just need Graham Potter will get the best out of them for sure.
Yeah, well, that's if he gets picked. I'm not 100% sure. But look, it's funny in a way because some of the names being thrown up for England manager, if we want to talk about them, obviously is Graham Potter, Eddie Howe. I know you don't want him, but he's more my pick because.
Don't get me wrong, I'd love it. I just feel like for Eddie Howard, it's a waste.
Too early.
He's still got a lot to do. He's doing great in Newcastle. They had a lot of injuries this season, so that's why they didn't do as well.
I just thought he's an upgrade on. He's like Southgate, but better.
But if they pick Eddie Howe, I'll be cheering. Of course, I'm going to be cheering. I'm like, that is the best fucking choice. I just don't want it for Howe, But if he takes it and he wants it, fuck yeah.
I'd say that he needs to do more Newcastle first, personally.
Yeah.
Just because, I think he could win the league with that Newcastle side.
Yeah, with their money, and being injury free. He could easily win the league. He's a bloody good manager. He was just unfortunate this season. He took him to the Champions League, for fuck's sake. He's great.
Now, there's a couple of controversial picks. Now, for me, one of them isn't controversial. The other one is, but for different reasons. Now, the one people think is controversial, which isn't for me, is Jurgen Klopp. I don't think Jurgen Klopp will manage England regardless.
Not controversial at all.
It's not controversial at all. And the one that is controversial is Pochettino. Yeah, and the
Not
reason why
controversial at all.
no, it's not for us. Maybe regardless of it being Argentinian, I don't think it'll be an issue for him to manage Argentina and England. I think he will never be able to show his face in Argentina if he fucking managed England. You know, which
Yeah,
is
that's
why
true.
which is why I don't think he would do it, because the Argentinians fucking hate us. They really fucking hate us. Our despise for the Germans is one-sided. They don't give a shit about us. You know what I
They hate
mean?
the Dutch.
They hate the
Yeah, the
Dutch
Germans hate the Dutch.
and
Yeah.
they got more with the French and the Italians than us. But while the Argentinians, you know what Diego Maradona did to us back in '86, it made him a god in that country. You know what I mean? Because it was against us, which why did it? When fucking Top Gear went to Argentina, there were still Argentinians who were holding grudges against the English, regardless of those three motherfuckers got nothing to do with the Falklands, and they were lucky to get out of the fucking Argentina alive. You know,
But that's because, again, like the Argentinians, they were poisoned to hate the English like we did something bad. So hang on a second. That fucking Falklands Islands, I say belongs. It was colonized, taken over by England before Argentina was a country. So it's just like you can argue semantics. And then the new president comes in and he's just like, yeah, no, the Falklands doesn't belong to Argentina. It's like, well, fucking duh.
Just saying, my point is regarding Pochettino. If he manages England, he will never be allowed back in Argentina ever again. They will fucking hate him.
They'll skin him
for
as
life. Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is why I don't think he will manage it. And plus, you know what? I don't want him to manage England. I want a fucking winner. I really want a winner. You know who?
That's why I say Klopp would be my choice if I was to
listen. If Klopp gets picked, I'm creaming my pants. That's it. I'm done. You're gonna have to mop me up.
Because I mean, you see what he did with Liverpool. I mean, that Liverpool squad were pretty decent anyway, and he took it to a new level.
Oh, how many trophies did he win? Was it 2 Champions Leagues, the league, like fucking Super Cups? FA Cup. I think I can't remember.
I think it's also very important to keep that camaraderie going, because what Southgate brought was like by breaking the cliques and making everyone feel. That was good. That was really good. Obviously, he couldn't do that on the team sheet when it came to how we played, but he did that in the atmosphere of the team regarding how people reacted to each other. There's so many friends, in between club rivalries, in that England team, and that needs to be maintained. By the next person. It's fundamental that gets maintained, because people like Capello and shit like that, he's a drill sergeant. Like people like him don't observe these things. They're so old fashioned. They can't manage the modern way.
Well, Capello was hated by a lot of the English players because he was just a bad man manager.
Yeah, he was a bad man manager. Yeah.
He's a great tactician.
All Italian coaches are bad man managers. They're just disciplined in other ways.
Ancelotti is apparently a really good man manager.
He's probably the only exception. Conte, how many people's he pissed off? Like Martinelli might be the other exception as well.
Yeah, like I said, no, not Martinelli. He plays for Arsenal.
The Juventus manager. What's his name?
Oh, I forgot, but I know.
We wanted to get him as our manager at one point. I forget his name, but he's the other exception. But, anyway, you had something about Argentina.
No, that was why I said earlier. I got a couple more TikToks, but they're kind of swaying away a little bit, because unfortunately, when it comes to England, we do get a bit of racism now and again, and this is some of it.
Why do black players have to work so much harder than white players to get any kind of leniency from the media? Stay with me here. This is a post from TNT, which is a main distributor of football in England, questioning whether Bukayo Saka, England's best forward by far so far, should be dropped because of a 20-minute cameo by Cole Palmer. And then you immediately see the racist undertones immediately after when they post, what does Gareth Southgate need to do to get the best out of Phil Foden? Let's keep in mind here, Phil Foden is not a centerpiece of England. This is a player that's never even had a great run of form for his country. He's not one of the people that they rely on to be great, and he is getting pity posts. He is not getting his position questioned, asked whether he should be benched or not, but a two-time England Player of the Year, Bukayo Saka, is, are you serious? Their best performer at the 2022 World Cup and their best performer so far in the 2024 Euro. And you can't even make the argument this is on merit. His position is getting challenged by someone who was nothing before this season. Don't get me wrong, I think Cole Palmer is world class. I think he's an incredible player, but someone that has this little credit in the bank, someone that has no experience at this level is being pushed over Bukayo Saka. The simple truth is the English media do this, man. In a game where Phil Foden and Cole Palmer were starting, in a game where Saka was subbed on to the end after England were already losing, he was made the poster boy of all the loss. And it's a reoccurring theme with the other black players in the squad. A literal hit piece by the biggest newspaper in the country, the Telegraph, posted at halftime. The game wasn't even over, falsely calling out Kobbie Mainoo for his defensive positioning in a goal where he wasn't even at fault. It was the press that broke down in front of him. I don't know if you want to call this subconscious biases or overt racism, go for it. But the English media is definitely very, very suspect.
Now I'm going to mention that I actually had to do a stitch, which is when you respond to somebody's video on TikTok, because not just this video, which is obviously pointing at the blatant racism, but after England lost against Spain, there was pictures of Bukayo Saka's face looking like that of a gorilla. It was atrocious. It was absolutely atrocious. And you got a lot of black Brits and non-white Brits basically saying that black people shouldn't be playing for the England team or the United Kingdom. And I can understand their grievances. I really can. But if you let the media and people on social media dictate what you have to do, then you let them win. And I've always said that this is our fucking country too. You know, we are part of this country. All the people who complained about England, black players playing for England, all of them had English accents. You know what? But they're fucking born here. You're part of this country. You know, this England team, the most multicultural England team imaginable. The golden generation was full of fucking white players. This team is fucking is more diverse than anything. Got as far as it could have ever been since 1966. You know, we did so much better with this with the diversity. And people are fucking complaining about it, and obviously the media constantly fucking making black players the scapegoat, and not enough is being done outside of the media to fucking point to the media by saying stop fucking doing this, you know, calling them out, unfortunately. But if these motherfucking racist cunts don't like black people playing for England or want to blame them for everything, they can fuck off back to Clacton, as far as I'm fucking concerned. You know, we are here to stay, and we shouldn't be intimidated by these motherfuckers, because the last
Go
thing we
support
want...
Scotland, you know. Go support a team that only has white players. Go support fucking Iceland, you know. You're not welcome here. Guys.
Yeah, I was just going to say, but why is he singling out Cole Palmer?
No, this is before.
No. I'm about to point something out. Like he does.
He's not singling out. But he's not singling out Cole Palmer.
Something really important out. Cole Palmer is mixed race.
I know, but it's not about that. He's singling out. They're saying, why is Cole Palmer the one? No, it's not that. You're getting it mixed up. The point is that Cole Palmer.
No, I agree with what you're saying.
No, is the person who should be taking over from Bukayo Saka. Why isn't Cole Palmer being asked to take over from Phil Foden? That's what he's trying to say. You know, what I mean, when the post was saying, "What's the best? How do we get the best out of Phil Foden?" Whilst at the same time, other people are saying in the same media post, "We should drop fucking Saka for fucking Palmer." No, you should drop fucking Foden for fucking Palmer. That's what the point he was trying to make. You know, and stuff like that. Like we keep people. How are we gonna get the best out of Harry Kane? You can't drop him.
What position does Cole Palmer play for in Chelsea?
He can play across the midfield. You know, he can play 10. He can play wide.
The times I've seen him, he plays in the right wings, which is where Saka plays. I'm not saying that we should replace Saka. I'm just saying.
He can play the 10 role as well.
He can play across the diamond. Let me not be wrong about that. I'm just saying, like, it's not. And this is the thing is that there are like the one that you brought up before about the monkey face. I absolutely agree with you. Or pointing the finger at certain black players like you're for fault or Kobe Madu was. It's like no, the team lost. Let's not point to a specific player and say you're the reason, because this happened with the last Euros with Rashford, Jadon Sancho, and
Always.
Saka
It always happens.
getting racial abuse.
Yeah,
It's like,
always.
and it's
It
like
always happens. They're so stupid. But if those same players won them the game, all of a sudden they're heroes. It's like fuck you. That's why I said.
Well, they're not heroes. They'll fucking throw John Stone's face in the front of the page. You go,
yeah. They'll throw like John. Yeah.
I mean, you do have a good point there, Sam. Like if we win, it's always the white players that are put on, and if we lose, it's always the black players.
Like the example was when we played against Iran, we had a cracking game in the last World Cup against Iran. I think we beat them 6-1 or 6-2. Bukayo Saka was man of the match, but got a brace, had a fantastic performance. Who was the front page of that win? Jack Grealish. He scored a goal in that game. Had a good game himself, but he wasn't the best player without a doubt. It was
a substitute from what I remember.
I think so. And it was Saka who had the best game, but the face of that victory was Grealish. Saka was man of the match. The face of that fucking game was, and this is why people have those grievances with England. I could get it. I truly get why they had their grievances, but we can't let these motherfuckers win because we are this country. You know, we are here. We're not going anywhere. You know, like this is our country too. And if we share this country with these motherfuckers, we need to beat them, not fucking let them win by ousting us and making us the scapegoat all the fucking time.
Yeah, I mean, half my arguments during this tournament was with Gammons. I was just like, hang on a second, what? Why are you supporting the English? You were boycotting them over a stupid little flag on the back of the neck, and now you're cheering them on. Yeah. I was like, no. I said, no. You don't get to cheer this squad on. The rest of us foreigners get to cheer this squad on, and English people that don't have a bloody racist bone in their body get you. Shut the fuck up. Okay, that was my argument. I kept saying to people, I know you complained about the flag, okay, because there were some people in the group that complained about the flag. I was just like, you don't get to. This isn't your team, you know. Your team is like Germany or whatever.
Yeah, I do think that we need to look at the media and the way it does portray the players. Like, I was looking at today. I think it was a Guardian or something had the scoring for all the players, and his player of the tournament was Gaya, who's a black guy. I was like, yeah, that's probably great because he probably was our player of the tournament. And and stuff like that. And I thought that was a pretty fair one. But that's like a broadsheet. That ain't one of the flaming being the sword or the mirror or some sort of flaming shit rag that flaming like Tony 10 pints down the road is going to
read. They're just an anachronism now. They're just out of date.
I thought a lot of our defensive players were probably up. I think people were overlooking Stones a bit much, and this is somebody who's obviously white, and I thought he was tremendous. I thought Jordan Pickford, as much as I criticize him,
Pickford was fucking one of our players of the tournament.
Yeah, the only thing I'm criticizing for, and he does this a lot, is like he comes to the top of the flaming box and starts shouting at people when he should be just back. Like,
yeah, typical
shouts
goalkeeper.
Yeah,
typical goalkeeper. So I think regarding what happened with England and and whoever the manager may be, I think it's only there. I think we might get a surprise. It could be somebody totally left field, but we'll need a manager soon because we need to qualify for that fucking World Cup. The 48 teams. I'm pretty sure we will qualify for it with that many teams in it. But yeah, we need to. We need a new manager. We need a new manager now, and they've got big shoes to fill because regardless of Gareth Southgate, not winning a title for England, he got further than any other manager in recent history. So whoever takes over,
2 finals and a semi, mate.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly. So
yeah,
for sure.
Cool.
So a couple more things now. First of all, we have Enzo Fernandez. Let's check this out.
Winning a major international trophy with your nation is an absolutely outstanding achievement. And on the weekend, Argentina went and did that once again by winning the Copa America in the extra time against Colombia. And, you know, it's an incredible achievement for them. But I often think to myself, if I was to win a major international trophy with my nation, how would I feel? How would I celebrate? And you know what wouldn't be top of my list? Racism. But this Argentina side, sadly, have done exactly that, celebrating their Copa America win against Colombia by racist chants on the bus being live streamed by Enzo Fernandez towards the French team from the 2022 World Cup, a team that is not involved in Copa America, which is the tournament they won. And this is exactly what they were chanting on the bus, which they live stream, by the way. They play for France, but come from Angola. They will run well. They like to she-males. Their mother is Nigerian, their father is Cambodian, but on the passport, French. I mean, just absolutely.
They should be banned from the next World Cup.
To be chanting that in a moment where you should be so happy, you should be so joyous, so grateful, is just disgusting. It's truly disgusting. And the stupidest part of this all is the fact that Enzo Fernandez is the one that's leading this chant on Instagram Live, and he plays for Chelsea, a club that has many players from African descent playing for it. And yeah, hopefully punishments can be brought forward. Hopefully sanctions can be brought forward, because these players do not deserve to get away with that. That is absolutely disgusting to live stream a chant like that to the world. I mean, just shameless, absolutely shameless. And they've gone from making their nation proud to disgracing it in the space of days.
Oh, racist and transphobic as well.
Well, look, for a start, I'm sure a lot of Argentinian people would probably have loved that, because that's the only South American country I know where black people don't seem to exist. You know,
they make up like 0.something% of the population. That's because they sent them all to die in their wars. They put them in the front line and they got wiped out, or half of them buggered off because of ill treatment, ended up in Brazil and like Panama. Panama.
Well, look, don't get me wrong. I don't know if this has a part to play, but a lot of fucking. Let's remember, a lot of Nazis ended up in Argentina as well after the World War
exactly.
II. Yeah, I'm sure that has a part.
Very racist country. Racist country.
But I mean, like, how moronic can you get? Like, you've just literally won in 2 years. You've won the World Cup and you've won the bloody Copa de America. And a tournament that isn't easy to win, by the way. And what do you choose to do? Racist bullshit. I mean, like, I agree with you, Paddy. They should be banned for the next, and severe fines be given. It's like Lionel Messi not going to say anything? Is anybody who with any seniority going to go?
People have issues because Lionel Messi was on that coach as that shit happened.
But I played with black people.
All of them do. I think
all of them do.
I think all of those players. I don't think there's a single player who plays in Argentina. I think all of them play for some European club where there's guaranteed to be at least one black teammate. Enzo Fernandez plays for Chelsea. Now, he might, with that chant, I'm sure the Chelsea fans will look at him as a fucking hero. But his teammates, there's black players who play for Chelsea. You know,
was there anything in the papers about this? No.
I'm not 100% sure. You're going to have to, I mean, I found this out, obviously.
Let me have a look.
What's his name? Enzo Fernandez, is it?
Enzo Fernandez, yeah.
See if there's anything in the mainstream.
Like I said, he plays for Chelsea. He's gonna have to come. All of these players are gonna have to come back.
Daily Mail, Goal, Metro put it, or the Telegraph. It's in France. It's in France paper, Sport Bible.
Well, it should be in the French paper. Okay, so they have reported on it. Good.
Yes.
Yeah, they need to ban it.
And Wesley Fofana has called him out, apparently.
Good.
Who's a black guy. So,
listen, if I'm a Chelsea player and he's coming back to the squad, I'm punching him in the face the minute he walks back in that changing room, because that's unacceptable. Or refuse to play with him. Insist he gets sold or I get sold.
Irony is lost on South American players, because these motherfuckers are not native to Argentina. They're from Italy, a lot of these bastards.
Yeah.
And they have the gall to say that
most of them are Italian.
Yeah, most of them are Italian. And then they have the gall to say that people from from France, they're African and shit. Well, motherfucker, you're not from fucking Argentina ethnically. You come back somewhere from Europe, but I'm sure that's okay
You're
because
Spanish, you're Italian, you're Welsh, you're German.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Exactly. So shit like that, really pisses me off, and the fact that like they were live streaming this bit of racism, and like these are like guys who work in the media as footballers, like no idea what they're doing is going to come back to haunt them. And are they that fucking stupid? My mind is boggled. It really is. Like
it's quite good for me as well. It's like when people do stuff like this, I actually think that they've had either something stupid happen to them.
See, these idiots, they probably just think it's like banter. Because they live in a country that's so overtly racist, it doesn't register to them. So to them, it's just it's a funny football chanting song, ha ha, and it's like, no, fuck off. It's racist as fuck, and you should be banned from the next World Cup.
I mean, plus, like, Leandro Martinez, who plays for us, was on that bloody bus. He plays with Flaming Rashford and Flaming Mainu and plays with all these other. I hope they punch him in the face as well.
Let's just hope that these certain players weren't all singing the song. Obviously, Enzo Fernandez was leading the charge, but I'm pretty sure maybe I can't imagine Messi singing that. I'm hoping Emi Martinez didn't sing that.
I mean, the players should get 10-match ban for those that sang it, and they should be kicked out of the World Cup. If FIFA actually give a fuck about racism, which they don't, they're just like all the other corporations. They're just like, oh, look how woke we are. Then behind the scenes, they're like, hey, we don't really give a fuck because we've never really punished. I mean, at the beginning of the Euro tournaments, there was absolutely disgusting racist genocidal chanting by the Serbs, and the Serbs had the nerve to play the victims when Croatia and I think Slovenia retaliated with their chants, but nothing happened to anyone. Nothing. Like none of them, nobody got punished at all.
Well, what happened with Argentina? They were singing racist chants.
The players
after the players were singing racist chants, making fun of France. I mean, the fact that they are fixated on France. You beat France. Why are they on you? They should be in your rearview mirror. You beat them fair and square in the World Cup. You're still fixated on them, but they made fun of the fact that France have got black players who come from Africa. Apparently, they're Africans and they bang she-males and stuff like that. That's the rhetoric they were using in their songs. When who gives a damn, man? Like, just be Colombia.
This is from football players that play in clubs in Europe where there are a lot of black players there, and yet they were happily chanting this. And this is the players. They're on the team bus. They're singing a racist song against France. And now, no matter what happens, anytime Argentina and France play, that's going to rain through the stadium by Argentinian players. And nothing's going to be done about it by Argentinian supporters.
Okay, I've got something here to read. Chelsea French players angry with Enzo Fernandez following racist Argentina chanting. According to Fabrice Hawkins, Chelsea's contingent of French players are angry with Argentinian teammate Enzo Fernandez after he filmed post-match celebrations for Copa America, which involved racist chanting about players in the France national team. The Premier League club has a large group of French players, including Malo Gusto, Leslie Ukoko, Christopher Nwuku, Wesley Fontana, Axel Disal, and Benoit Badiashile. Argentinian players could be seen chanting a racist song about the heritage of players within France squad while celebrating their Copa America final against Colombia. Players from the Albiceleste following, some of these words I can't even say. Albiceleste following the final could be heard chanting the following song in a video filmed by Fernandez. They play for France, but they are from Angola. His mother is Nigerian, his father is Cameroonian, but on the passport is French. For Jesus Christ. As a person filming the video of the chant, Chelsea players appear to be greatly upset with the former Benfica midfielder. And yeah, that's basically that. And also, there's another article saying France are taking legal action against Argentina.
So they
Good.
should.
After Enzo Fernandez post video of racist chanting.
Right.
Kylian Mbappe, one of the targets, according to their French homophobia and slurs about backgrounds of black players. He wants me to fucking pay for the article, which I'm not going to do.
But I mean, Paddy, you are absolutely 100% right that UEFA, FIFA, whoever it is, do not give two shits about racism in
I don't
football.
care.
Like, I mean, I can't remember what country it is, but there's like countries that England plays that every time one of our black players touches the ball,
Spain.
Fucking
Spain.
Spain.
Eastern European countries, Russian, Serbia, Slovakia's, you fucking
The monkey chants
Romania.
come out, yeah.
Yeah.
All these places.
I remember when they did it to a black player. He skidded one and scored and went. A little bit of fuck yeah. I was like, yeah, go ahead.
That was Hulk. He did that when he was playing in Russia. They were
Yeah.
doing monkey chants at him, and then he beat one player and scored a fucking worldie. And he did it from like the sidelines as well. So where the players were giving him monkey chants, and they just shut the fuck up after he scored that, but it was against their team. So yeah.
Never
And
changed.
did he go over to play in Russia?
That's what he
Say
did. He
again?
was in Russia when he scored. Yeah, he was playing in Russia.
Oh, all right. But yeah. I mean, as I said, like until UEFA and FIFA get their heads out their ass about this and start actually punishing these countries, they're just going to keep on doing it because there's no what's the word? There's no
Discipline.
There's no.
No, just-
Yeah.
Look,
There's
I've said it
no-
before. I've
there's
said
no-
it. I'll say it before. I'll say it again. You do it once. The rest of the tournament, your team plays with no supporters allowed in. Okay. You do it twice. Your players are banned. Oh God, what was it? You do it twice, and for the next tournament, the next couple of tournaments, your supporters aren't allowed in. Happens a third time, your country is banned from playing in tournaments, in 2 tournaments. Simple as that. If you ban the country, then the supporters be like, oh shit. Well, we want our team in here. So and I think you should always go to the extreme of banning the country from playing in a tournament if your supporters are going to be that racist. Because it's unacceptable. It is just unacceptable.
In this day and age, for Jesus Christ, like, are we still going there? Like, how? Like, we're the most popular sport in the world, and yet somehow it's always the one playing catch up when it comes to social issues.
Yeah, and it pisses me off because my co-worker, she's Kenyan, okay, like Kenyan, like Yemeni kind of heritage, and her husband, Kenyan Yemeni heritage. Born in Kenya, they've only been here for, I say only, but they've been here for 20 years, and yet they are ride or die England. Her brother, who never come to this country, is a ride or die England fan when it comes to the football. Okay, that tells you everything you need to know about the impact of of English football on the world, and yet we've got morons here that just don't appreciate the kind of love people have for our game more than any other, like the Premier League. It spills into them kind of rooting for the national team, and then you get these bloody racist idiots that they ruin it for everyone because they don't know anything, they don't appreciate anything, they just want the glory, but they don't have the passion to fully love something the right way, for its faults, for its downs and for its ups. They just want the ups, and then when it all goes wrong, blame Johnny Foreigner, because that's always been the English mentality.
God.
Never take responsibility, blame everyone else. And England's not unique in that regard. So many other countries, and they're way worse, like Eastern European countries. Bloody forget it.
Yeah.
Their racism is just, But again, FIFA ain't going to ban nobody. They're spineless cowards. And that's the end of that. And if we can wrap this up, because I'm getting
one more to go. Okay.
Okay.
Because let's think about the future. Because this is what happened to
His
I'm sure he'll
computer
come
died.
back. Yeah, he needs to fucking throw in some more wood in the fire. Yeah, I mean,
The crank
you
has
know,
finished.
yeah, like cut some more logs and stuff like that. I'm gonna give him a chance to come back, but
Check
basically,
Facebook.
yeah, but basically, our next the next thing on the horizon is the World Cup, Panny, and I don't know if you could believe this, but this World Cup is going to be the biggest World Cup. And when I say the biggest, I don't mean the most spectacular, even though the Razzmatazz country of America, even though the Razzmatazz country of America, oh sorry, I just got rid of it. The Razzmatazz country of America will be hosting it, as well as Canada and Mexico. It's going to be the biggest World Cup because it's going to have 48 fucking teams in it.
It's too much.
It's going to be way too much. I'll tell you what, though, at least fucking TV is going to be great for the opening round. My God, football every day for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But but regardless, this is what this guy has to say about it. Let's check it out.
America is not ready for the World Cup in 2026. We are just 2 years away from a 48-team World Cup involving USA, Mexico, and Canada. And we've seen throughout the Copa America that the country is not ready for that tournament. Fights in stands, players having to jump in to protect their own families with the lack of security, the state of the pitches in the games. Players have come out consistently throughout the tournament moaning about the state of the pitches, saying that they're dangerous, they're not fit for purpose. The US has got so much work to do before that World Cup in a couple of years' time. And last night's events involving Uruguay and Colombia really, really highlighted that. This should not have to happen. This should not have to happen. You can talk about whether what you thought Darwin Núñez did was right or wrong, or how the Uruguay players acted, but you should not have to be on the pitch consoling your young son after they've nearly just been beaten up. You, as a footballer, having to jump in and stop that from happening because there was no security there to stop it. The pitches are smaller as well. I didn't know this. The stadiums cannot accommodate traditional football pitches, and players have complained about the pitch quality affecting gameplay. The pitches are smaller compared to the FIFA standard because most venues also host American football games, which use different dimensions.
So the Copa America was, what was it? It was actually in the United States?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Sorry, carry on.
No problem.
Different dimensions, which, like I said, is affecting the state of these pitches massively. So many players have come out and complained. It's important to say that it's CONMEBOL that run this tournament. It's like UEFA running the Euros. FIFA obviously won the World Cup. And obviously with the World Cup in 2 years' time, hopefully under FIFA's jurisdiction, it will be more organised. Vinicius Jr. came out and said it is difficult to play in these stadiums because of the pitch and the referees. Again, that's a different sort of complaint because we have bad refereeing in all the tournaments. Not giving clear fouls, which we have seen in the Copa America. Some of the officiating has been terrible. And he said the way CONMEBOL treats us is complicated. Things have got to change. We can't be having scenes like this again in 2 years' time. Nobody wants to see this. Players should not have to be forced to step in and protect their own family members because there was a real lack of security. It's not good enough. America is not.
All right, so a few things I want to quickly mention this before we wrap things up. For a start, Darwin Núñez having to save his own kid. You know,
that was disgusting when that happened.
Yeah, that was absolutely terrible. The pitches being too small. I mean, I'm not 100% sure what the issue is here because the MLS is a league. A lot of these teams have their own actual football pitches. How is this an issue? I don't get it. You know, like if you have football clubs all over football stadiums all over America, then how is this an issue? I don't get it. But smaller pitches is a bad thing. It's not a good thing. It really is a bad fucking thing. You know, it'd be hard to stretch teams out. Everything would be more compressed. Yeah. You know, if we have small pitches, and yeah, like look, the pitches. I was actually shocked by the state of the pitches in the Euros. A lot of them were atrocious. I'm hoping that won't be a lot of them. Hopefully, that won't be the case in the World Cup. But apparently, those pitches are really shit as well. But the final thing is going to be a little bit political, but. Like, let's just say Trump wins the fucking election and he does all this 2025 project. You know how many trigger-happy fucking hicks are going to be in America? Yeah. Shooting up fan zones, but they think a whole bunch of fucking Latino guys are breaking into their country when it's really like fucking the Uruguayan football fans, you know, who are following their team. I mean, America is going to be swamped with nationalities from all over the world. You know, coming into their country all at the fucking same time. And considering America is renowned for fucking mass shootings on a regular basis. I'm not saying there's going to be a shooting in the stadium. I think there's going to be shooting in fan zones.
I agree
You
with
know, I can imagine that. You know, all these going and they took our job. You know what I mean? I can see that shit, man. You know, and that's what scares the fuck out of me. You know, you're just oh god, I really hope people take precaution when they go out there
Well,
because
after the Copa America, if America doesn't get its act together, then yeah, they should never be allowed to host the fucking World Cup again. You know, like Mexico, Canada. It's Mexico and Canada as well. Mexico, like, is ready, but you know, I don't know how safe Mexico is. Canada, those moose are vicious. I worry more about Canada than anything. Yeah, fucking beavers. But yeah, you know, they need to get their shit together before they, you know.
40,
I think FIFA will be on
teams.
it though.
48 teams. Oh, you hope so. 48
Yeah.
teams in this World Cup. This is going to be arguably the most expensive World Cup for fans in history because you have to travel across 3 countries. For fuck's sake, you know, imagine if you like in your group games, like everyone has to play one group game in one country or another to keep things fair.
One in Mexico, one in USA, one in Canada.
Yeah. That's gonna because fans are fucking fortune.
Yeah.
You know, and then they're gonna, you know, then you don't know which teams are going to advance, and then that's when the black market comes into play because you know when it comes to teams that do advance, they're gonna fucking buy up all the tickets and sell it to fans who want to go to those matches. Oh man, it's gonna. Oh, I really think I really hope America is ready for.
I hope you know what. I hope
Mhm.
it's a shit show, just like South Africa was a shit show. Like it will just be hilarious because like the supposedly greatest nation on earth, and you know, with such a sports
self-proclaimed.
Yeah, so of course self-proclaimed. You know, with such a like sporting history of its own kind of sports, and they can't run a fucking World Cup. Oh, I'd love that. I'd love it if it was a mess.
I mean, I'm
not invested because I won't be there, so I don't really give a shit.
their women teams are fucking spectacular, but they don't know. No one gives a fuck about that. Even we don't give a fuck about that. When our women won the Euros, you know, 2 years ago, you know, like we should be really happy about that. England women won the Euros, but no one fucking cares, and it's unfortunate that they do. You know,
I disagree with that.
I disagree with that. They did care, and the women's game has grown exponentially. Like, you know, I mean, when they were at the Emirates, the stadium sold out.
Yeah,
you got my misinterpretations wrong. I do care. I wish the care was more there because we almost forgot that we fucking won it 2 years ago. It feels like a distant memory.
Well, the thing is that I think that the women's game is still growing, and it's going to take a while for it to get to where the men's game is, but it's still there. I mean, like when Lucy Bronze won the Fabian Sports Personality of the Year, was it Lucy Bronze? No, it was Lucy Bronze. It was the goalkeeper.
I can't remember.
When she won the Sports Personality of the Year, and she's a female football player. That tells me everything I need to know. That the game is growing and people are getting interested in it because I mean the thing is that, and I mean I don't know about you guys, but I now tune in to watch female football and not for the reason.
Sometimes I do, because it's on the BBC website.
And sometimes I'd rather watch that the men's game because at least the women are actually, you know, trying. They're not just there for the paycheck. They're there like busting their guts to try and get a ball or something.
But they're fucking hard as well. Like the women will go in for crunching tackles, the other woman will get obliterated, and they'll just get up and dust themselves off.
Yeah.
Well, I used to give a damn. I used to really care about Sports Personality of the Year, but then once people, like, obvious winners were not winning it, mainly Lewis Hamilton, I was thinking to myself, "Fuck this show, man! You're racist as fuck as usual." You know. Yeah. So
he was more champion 7 times in a row, and he couldn't give it at least once.
Yeah, exactly. I think he finally did win it at one particular point, but I was thinking to myself, damn, how many fucking championships does this guy have to win for you guys to recognize him as Britain's greatest ever motor racing driver ever? Not Damon Hill, not fucking Nigel Mansell, this motherfucker, and arguably the greatest racing driver of all time, possibly surpassing Schumacher, another one of your fucking Aryan elites. But no, they won't want to fucking give it to him because he's fucking black.
Well, for me, it's
You know what I
between
mean?
Schumacher and Hamilton, who's the best driver ever. And I also couldn't.
No, it's Hamilton. No.
It's Hamilton.
I'll tell you why. Schumacher cheated a lot. He was a dirty fucking racer, a dirty cheat. Okay, to get to his championships, he was not a fair player. It was Hamilton done it on pure skill alone. I'm not saying Schumacher wasn't skillful, but he was a dirty bastard, just like Alonso was as well. Hi, ladies.
Yeah.
You're watching Long Legs at the cinema.
I wouldn't waste my time. It looked like a shit. The trailer was so shit. I'm surprised that film. So
I don't watch horrors. They bore the shit out of me. So yeah. Anyway, let's wrap this up because I want to go.
Yeah, no problem. So we'll be back. I'll be back tomorrow with Gaz, and we're going to be reviewing the final episode of Acolyte. I bet you can't wait for that, Gaz. And on Thursday you'll get a review.
I shouldn't really act like that. Sorry.
No problem. Regardless, he's still the greatest motor racing driver of all time.
Exactly.
Look, this is his excuse for why he shouldn't win when this motherfucker loves wankers. You know what I mean? Anyway, regardless, and I'll be doing a review, obviously, of the final episode of The Boys on Thursday, and then we'll go on and say hopefully you might get us all on it.
Maybe. Yeah. Don't bank on it. Look, we don't get enough viewers for me to think of it as something that must be done gospelly. If we're doing something else, we'll go do something else.
Exactly. But regardless, we'll see you tomorrow for Acolyte. Thank you everyone for watching. Have a nice day. Take care now. And if you've already forgotten, the name's NerdTube. Remember it.